All right. Welcome to Accountability and Hopeful Fridays on 24th of October. Here's the quick stats. We had 43 sessions so far. We had 76 guest speakers. 104 past members got successful in their journey at AHF in having their careers change or getting a new job. And we have 1,800 plus members on LinkedIn and counting. It's just amazing journey to be part of. That's awesome. And with that said, I want to introduce to you Hasnain Baxamoosa. He's our guest speaker today. Hasnain is experienced product leader, founder, based in Austin, Texas. Currently focused in revolutionizing the job search process through AI-powered technology. He's the founder of GigHQ.ai, an AI-powered job search copilot designed to transform a chaotic job hunt into structured path. Hasnain started GigHQ to tackle overwhelming nature of tracking applications by replacing cumbersome spreadsheet with automated system. With over 15 years of experience spanning product management, software development, sales, marketing, business intelligence, Hasnain channels his cross-functional expertise into scaling GigHQ. And prior to doing this, he served as a director of revenue operations at Design Pickle and ActiveTrack, where he built out revenue operation functions and drove significant improvements in KPIs through technology and process alignment. We are really looking forward to hear from him today and getting a guidance. And my question to Hasnain is, can you please share one piece of insider knowledge that many job seekers might not be aware of, but would find incredibly helpful in their job search?
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. And I realized that I haven't put my cap on yet, so I'm going to do that first. So I have my hat now. But yeah, no, thank you for having me. This is, I mean, AHF is honestly a great community, and I think a lot of the job search process is really driven by like being on an island, and I think community helps. So I'm fortunate to be here. I think the one thing that I've noticed, and this is I think coming up more and more recently, and some of you may have seen this, is there's I think a little bit of a myth around the speed at which you should apply. So I hear more and more people saying that, oh, you know, and when you go to, like, for example, LinkedIn jobs, you should use the past 24 hours filter and try to be the first applicant or the first, you know, less than 10 applicants, and then that improves your chances. And I have to tell you, that's not really true. You know, especially in today's environment, the recruiters, employers, companies have so many applicants and so much choice, is no one is making a hiring decision based on how quickly you applied. And I actually, as Jeff was sharing his story, I was thinking that, you know, it's such a great segue to kind of this part of what I'm sharing is, he did it right? So Jeff, you know, reached out, tried to find a connection, tried to establish a relationship with the company that led to, you know, someone, you know, senior, telling the recruiters, hey, this is a candidate we want to talk to. And that's really the way to do it. You know, the quality will always trump the sort of the speed and the volume and all that. So don't be in a rush to submit as many applications as possible. Spray and pray does not work. You really have to kind of get away from that mindset. So that's the little bit of the insider knowledge, at least, that it's more, and I've been hearing more and more of that in the last kind of 4 and 6 weeks, 8 weeks, that, oh, you know, I'm trying to apply to as many as possible, as quickly as possible before the number on the LinkedIn job page crosses 100. And I keep telling people is that doesn't matter. So that's the answer to that question. Should I just continue into kind of some of the other things that I can share, or do you? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, and so I think that's number one. I think the other couple of things I would say is, and I think all of you probably know this is true, and this is kind of the reason that we're doing what we're doing, is we really think of the job search, and we recommend everyone else think of the job search really as you as an individual trying to sell yourself to the company, right? So if you've worked with salespeople, are in sales, have been on teams where there's salespeople, like the analogy of when marketing brings you a lead, like the salesperson's job is to nurture that into a close one deal, right? So how do you get to an offer letter on the other end? And that's really the way you should be thinking about it. And more of that, especially today, is driven by getting to successfully to engage with an employer, to getting to a job, is more and more about establishing contact, showing interest, all of those things, versus just trying to apply. And even, yeah, you definitely need a strong resume, preferably a cover letter if there's an opportunity to add that. But you really need to, both before you apply, try to do some research, and most certainly after you apply, try to find people that are at that organization, similar to kind of what Jeff did, right? Is try to establish contact, use your network, use your extended network, and try to get someone to engage with you and have them be a referral or be a source of at least a bump to get your name to the top of that list. So that's really, really important. And then I would say, just in the spirit of kind of this community and just in general, as I talk to more people, I always recommend is try to make sure you're having meaningful connections. I don't love the word networking because I feel like it's very much tied to the LinkedIn networking and just connecting connection requests on LinkedIn. I really honestly recommend people try to see how many people are in your LinkedIn, or you're in your in real life, in your world, that you can meet with, grab coffee with, have a one-on-one conversation with, because I think those lead to a lot more meaningful threads that you can pull on. Someone may know someone else that might need your expertise, or maybe someone knows someone else that might be relevant to kind of the space you're in. And it's the same thing, honestly, has happened so many times for me in my journey. Is I talk to one person and they recommend I talk to another person, and it's that third or fourth person that really is impactful in kind of our startup journey too. But try to build those. I think it helps both from the perspective of not being kind of isolated on an island, and you all are part of this community, so you're already kind of ahead of a lot of other people. But try to exercise that muscle, because a lot of it is, it's kind of like when you do interviews and things like that, the more often you do it, the more opportunities you get, at bats you get at establishing connection, establishing relationships, the more success you have. And the reality, especially in today's world, is it's less about kind of what you know, and it's about who you know. That old adage holds true even more today than it has in the past. So I highly recommend that. And then the other thing I will also share is keep in mind that we all have to play the LinkedIn game, as much as we love it or hate it. And LinkedIn will always give preference to the LinkedIn members that it believes are engaged and active. And so I have a 3-to-1 rule, which is honestly not my rule. I borrowed it from a friend, but he recommends that every person every week engage on LinkedIn by doing 3 comments. So not reactions, but you have to write something meaningful on someone else's post. And especially if it's in an area that you're interested in, or if it's someone that you're trying to establish contact with, and you do that, I think it's really meaningful, and much more meaningful than sending them an email or a connection request. And I'll circle back to that in a second. So three comments, 2 reposts. So try to repost something someone else is saying, even if it's not relevant directly to you. Again, because this is a community, and you want to help every other people too. Is there might be something else that Rahul's posting, or Danny's posting, or Jeff is posting, or just something that you sharing it in your broader network might benefit them. So try to engage in that way. And then the last one is, try to do at least one original post every week. It doesn't need to be earth-shattering, just could be something you learned, something you've done. It's meaningful. And the reason that all of this is very important is LinkedIn inherently, yes, it's kind of a professional place, and jobs and all of that, and it's become a social platform where there's a soapbox and all that, but really it is a social network. And LinkedIn cares about people spending time on the network. And the more engagement you show, there's data that shows that the more active you are, the higher you also show up in search results when recruiters are looking for people that fit your profile. So you really need to be active. And one of the important reasons that that's true, by the way, is because LinkedIn wants for recruiters to contact people that they're going to get a response from, not ones that are not on LinkedIn and just have a LinkedIn profile, right? So, like, think about it in that way. It's honestly not that hard. Like, you can set a reminder, maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you go in and you add one comment. Tuesday, Thursday, you kind of post something. Once a week, you kind of share something that's relevant. Maybe you went to the AHF, meetup, and you share about that. Just, it doesn't need to be earth shattering, honestly. Just be engaged, I think is the goal. It will make an incredible difference in how often you show up when people are searching for people with your profile. So keep that in mind. And if you all want, I mean, I have notes on the 3-to-1. I'm happy to share at some point if anyone's interested. And then I think the last thing I will say is the last thing I will say, and then I have an ask that I will share at the end. But the other kind of tip I will share is, really think about the quality of the application. Don't be in a hurry. Like, definitely don't be the quick to apply. Think about making sure that the resume is relevant to the job. You've done the research. You've added the kind of things that are in, not only just the keywords, but have you already spoken to the company, all of that. I also have given guidance to people. I recommended that the structure of the cover letter a certain way. So really, the cover letter you should be thinking about is, why you're interested in the company, why you're interested in the role, and why you, right? So, like, think of it in those three themes when you write it. I know people have mixed opinions about cover letters and whether they're useful and whether they're read and all of that. But I guess what I would say about that is, if there's an opportunity to stack more cards in your favor, and beyond the resume, beyond your LinkedIn profile, have an opportunity to, if someone's considering you, to have put something else out there. I mean, I've always done it. I don't know why you wouldn't. Yes, it takes a little bit more time, a little bit more effort, but I think it's definitely worth it. And the other thing that's like really is kind of outside of that, and I could honestly talk about LinkedIn for hours because I spend way too much time on LinkedIn, and I talk to 2 people that are both love and hate LinkedIn. But the other thing I would also ask is this, right? Is if you have successfully gone participated in the AHF community and kind of gone past that and gotten a job, or even if you just in your own friends and family, it's just your network. I talk to so many people that I'm in the Austin area, and there's a lot of people that work at Dell and have been at Dell for, I don't know, 10 plus years, right? A decade, 2 decades, whatever. And I often ask them is, how often do you use LinkedIn? And a lot of people that are very senior, that have strong networks, are established in their career, don't ever go to LinkedIn, right? Because they don't think they need to. And so I always tell people that I talk to is, you know what, you should log in once in a while, because someone that needs help, someone that's looking for a connection, someone that you could help might be on there, and you're just not looking, and you have this opportunity to really affect people's trajectory here and affect the kind of the journey they're on. So my ask to you all is, as you talk to people, not just other job seekers, but friends, family, whatever, ask them is like, when was the last time you logged in, right? If you maybe there's someone that sent you an email, someone sent you a connection request, it might help them. It might not be necessarily relevant for you today, but pay it forward. It makes a meaningful difference. And so definitely consider that. And most importantly, if you recently got a job, and the folks that yes, you get busy, but check back into LinkedIn. And again, it never hurts to continue to stay kind of semi-engaged on LinkedIn, because you never know, right? Like, especially with the way things are today, anything could change. And so if you're going to stay relevant in that space, it'll probably benefit you too. But those are kind of the 2 or 3 tips and the one ask. I will also say this is one of the things just along those lines is kind of what Jeff mentioned is he found someone that was connected and he kind of reached out. One of the things to always keep in mind with that also is that as you are looking at people within your network to help you make connections, on people's profiles, generally you can tell if they've been active, because you will see posts, you will see comments, you'll see things that they've shared. That's a really good way of knowing whether they're spending time on LinkedIn or not. And you really don't want to spend your time and effort, especially if you're paying for premium, to waste a connection request, waste an email message on someone that doesn't even log into LinkedIn. So check that always. And so if it's someone that hasn't really done anything on LinkedIn in a while, probably don't waste your time. So that's kind of a pro tip I always recommend to people is, they assume that you can just kind of, reach out to people on LinkedIn and they assume they're being ghosted, but the reality is that that person may not even be logging into LinkedIn ever, and so they never even see it. So just something to keep in mind. But I'll stop there. I'll let you all ask questions. I mean, of course, like I said, I can share a lot more about LinkedIn and talk for hours, but I think those are the 2 or 3 big things that come to mind, and I can certainly share kind of what we're working on and all of that. But I'll open it up and stop there.
Thank you so much, Hasnain. We really appreciate your awesome advice and guidance and tips you shared today. I will stop recording now and we will move forward to the Q&A.